Here on example 3, we have a safe dosage range problem. That's what the SDR stands for, safe dosage range. So we have an order for drug Y, 550 milligrams every 6 hours. Now the safe dosage range says that we can give 25 to 30 milligram per kilogram per day in 4 divided doses. So that's what we call a weight-based drug. It depends on your patient's weight. All right, so this is going to help identify, that the 20-year-old female who weighs 100 pounds is going to get a different dose than the 40-year-old man that weighs 320 pounds. Okay, of course they need different doses if your medication is weight-based. Our patient's weight is 180 pounds, and available drug Y comes in 0.5 gram tablets. So part A is usually going to ask you for the weight in kilograms, because a lot of times we weigh patients in pounds, and the very first thing we need to do is change pounds to kilograms, because our safe dosage range is usually written in kilograms. So our weight in kilograms, we're going to start off with, if we want to know kilograms, our first fraction needs to have kilograms in it, right? So let's remember that conversion factor, 2.2 pounds is 1 kilogram. Now, I do need kilogram at the top, so 1 kilogram is going to be put over 2.2 pounds. And I've noticed some of you have been finding conversions elsewhere, maybe Google or something, and maybe using a different conversion than the one that I have listed. Moodle is only set up to take the answers using the conversions that I've recommended in class. Okay, so please go back to, I think it's in week 2, under the week 2 readings, there should be a Word document called Conversion Factors to Memorize. That is the piece I need you to pull all your conversion factors from, okay, not Google. Okay, so 1 kilogram is 2.2 pounds. And remember, it's kilograms we're looking for, so kilograms went at the top. Now, that put pound at the bottom, so I need pounds at the top of this next fraction. Well, they did tell us our patient weighs 180 pounds. So let's put the 180 over 1, so I can't really pair anything with it. But now you'll see that our LBs cancel, and we're just left with kilograms. So we have the right setup. We can do our math. 180 divided by 2.2 should give you an 81.8 kilograms. Okay. Now, that was part A, our weight in kilograms. Our 180-pound patient weighs 81.8 kilograms. But now we got to figure out, is this dose that they've ordered, is it safe? Okay, 550 milligrams. But remember, it should be between 25 to 30 milligram per kilogram per day in the 4 divided doses. So we're going to have to get that 25 and 30 somewhere with this 81. Okay, so that brings us to part B. But before we actually tackle the low and the high dose that's based on the weight, check the frequency. Okay, the frequency of the drug that has been ordered is written as every 6 hours. The safe dosage range says that it needs to be split in 4 doses. Okay, so this frequency is something you need to look at just to make sure that the doctor is dividing the dose as needed. Okay, so sometimes the dose may be written as just 550 milligrams, meaning that we're going to give it just 1 time a day. Okay, but sometimes that safe dosage range says that, well, 550 would be okay, but it needs to be split in 4 different doses and spread out over the entire day, not just 1 time a day. You see what I'm saying? So the frequency, just make sure they match. Okay, so our every 6 hours compared to 4 doses in a day, is that the same thing? Every 6 hours means that, if there's 24 hours in a day, if I take those 24 hours and divide them by 6, every 6 hours, 24 divided by 6 is going to give me 4. 4 different times a day we have to give this medication. So yes, every 6 hours is 4 doses throughout the day. Okay, so yes, frequency matches. We are good to go, ready to move on to the math. So let's look at that safe dosage range. Safe dosage range was written as 25 to 30 milligrams per kilogram per day. Let's start with the minimum, and then we'll move into the maximum. Okay, so start with the 25, and again, our desired answer here when we're figuring out safe dosage range, it's probably going to be our milligram per day. Okay, if they give it to you, sometimes it might be microgram per day, or it might be grams per day. But our units that they're using is a milligram. So let's start off with our low, we said, and we're going to figure out the high in a minute, but milligram per day is where we're starting. Now, that means that we need milligram for our first fraction. Grab that from the safe dosage range. Okay, safe dosage range says 25 milligram per kilogram per day. I'm going to ignore the 30 for a little bit. We'll do that down here in the high part. So we're going to pull in our 25 milligram. Now, it did say per kilogram and per day. So shove both of those to the bottom of that first fraction. 25 milligram per kilogram per day. Okay, and put a little multiply symbol between them. Now, that puts kilogram at the bottom and it puts day at the bottom. I'm okay with the day being at the bottom, okay, but I do need to get rid of kilograms. So if I've got kilograms at the bottom, I need to put kilograms at the top over here. And remember, we said our patient weighs 81.8 kilograms. So let's pull that in and pair it with a 1. Usually your weight will get paired with 1. There's nothing that you can match it to. All right, so is that everything that we need? The kilograms get to cancel. We have milligram on top, day on bottom, which is what we were looking for, right? So yeah, we're ready to go. So we'll multiply the tops, multiply the bottoms are all just 1. So I really don't even need the bottom here. So we're just going to multiply the tops. 25 times 81.8 is going to give me 2,045 milligram per day. Okay, so that's the low end of my safe dosage range. Now we also have to figure out the high end. Once you've got the low part figured out, the high is going to look very similar. You're just going to work with the 30 milligram per kilogram per day. Okay, so again, desired answer is milligram per day. We're working with 30 milligram per kilogram per day. We're still going to multiply it by our patient's weight, right? Patient weight hasn't changed. So kilograms cancel. We have milligram on top, day on bottom. So we're ready to multiply. And we get a 2,454 milligram per day. Okay. So what this is telling us is our safe dosage range should be the medication that the doctor has ordered should be between 2,045 milligram per day and 2,454 milligram per day. If it's outside that range, it's not safe. Okay, so obviously if it goes over that 2,454, then we have a possible overdose. Okay, but you could also have a dose that actually goes under that low, which means that they're not getting enough medication to make a difference. Okay, so again, that's also something that would be not safe to give because it's too low. It's not doing them any good if you don't get the minimum amount in your patient. Okay, moving on to the next part. Here it's asking, what is the daily dose that has been ordered? Okay, so we know our range that it should fall in, but what has the doctor ordered? Okay, so drug Y, they told us 550 milligrams every 6 hours. So it's 550 milligrams per dose, right? And we have to walk in and give our patient 550 milligrams every time we give a dose. And our safe dosage range is written per day. Okay, so we are going to have to do a conversion here and make sure that we're comparing apples to apples. Okay, the order is written per dose, but the safe dosage range was written per day. So let's take our 550 milligrams and we're going to multiply it by however many doses we have to give in a day. So that every 6 hours meant that we were given 4 doses a day, right? 24 divided by 6 gave us the 4 doses in a day. So 550 milligrams per dose, times it by 4 in a day. So that should be, the doctor has ordered for us to give 2,200 milligrams per day. All right, so the next question is going to ask, is the order safe? Okay, so we have been ordered to give 2,200 milligrams per day. Does it fit in our safe dosage range? 2,200 does fit between 2,000 and 2,400. So yes, it's between the high and the low. It is safe to give. So the next part will ask, well, how many milliliters are you going to give? So let's start with milliliter per dose. And I forgot to pull that over. Hang on. Okay, I'm back now. We were asking how many milliliters will you give? So desired answer is milliliter per dose. and look for your label or what the pharmacy is going to give you, what's available. Okay, so available, they told us drug Y is going to come 50 milligrams in every 2 milliliters. Okay, so that's going to be our first fraction because we have the milliliter piece. All right, so milliliter per dose is going to start with milliliters on top. So let's pull in our 2 milliliters over 50 milligrams. Now that's going to shove milligram to the bottom, right? So that means our next fraction needs to have milligram at the top. And you have a lot of pieces of milligrams up here, okay? So really keep track with, when you're figuring out the dosage calculation, first fraction comes from your label, or what is available to you. The second fraction usually comes from your order, as long as the units are matching, which ours does. So let's pull in that 550 milligram, and remember that is given per dose. We do have to give 2,200 milligrams per day, but we're only given 550 milligrams per dose. And again, we're calculating milliliter per dose, not milliliter per day. Okay, just milliliter per dose. So check your units. Do we have everything we need? The milligrams get to cancel. You have milliliter on top, dose on bottom. That's what we wanted. So let's multiply. 2 times 550. And we have a 50 on the bottom. So that's going to work out to give us a 22 milliliter per dose. 22.